So he is doing better, but continue to pray for him and his family. We want to just lift them up. And then our other brother, Sean Colosimo, he and his family are traveling right now. So you guys have me this morning, all right? You guys have the substitute teacher. You know, I remember when I was in school, I had a substitute teacher that used to come in at the beginning of the semester and used to say, you know what? You know, it's almost summer. Now, this is the beginning of the semester now. And he would say, you know, it's almost summer. So we just gonna chill. We just gonna chill today. You know, we used to think, man, this guy loves us. We used to love him until we could read. So, but, no, all jokes aside, I'm not gonna be long. So I'm gonna give you guys some of your time back today. It is a beautiful day. But again, with that being said, guys, go ahead and turn over to your Bibles. We're going to look at a couple of passages this morning. Matthew 22, 36 through 40. It sums it up. You know, like Larry and Janae, I'm so proud of you guys. I know everyone is giving you a thousand claps. We're going to continue to, because again, we are proud of you too. But I'll tell you, you learned a lot when you was in school. But today, I get a chance to teach you the biggest lesson that you can ever learn. And that's how to love like Jesus. You know, a lot of times in life, a lot of things that we talk about, you know, it's not about money. It's not about learning how to survive, how to make more money, how to get rich, but really learning how to love like Christ. Amen? Yeah. In Matthew 22, 36 through 40 says, one of them, an expert in the religious law, tried to trap him with this question. Teacher, which is the most important commandment in the law of Moses? Jesus replied, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all of your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. The entire law and the demands of the prophets are based on these two commandments. You know, there's no other way to sum up the Bible other than love. There's no other way to sum up what we do and why we're here other than the word love. So I think it's very important to learn how to love. You know, like I was stating, this is not an area that I excel at. And recently, I really came to the conclusion with some things going on in my life that I don't do that well in loving. And one of the things, again, in the Bible, I think that we can always go to is the greatest example, and that's Jesus. If we're ever trying to figure out how to love, what does that look like? I think we should always go to Jesus. And when is the best time to go to him? I believe it's at the foot of the cross. In John 19, 25 through 27, it says, near the cross of Jesus stood his mother, his mother's sister, Mary, and his wife, Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother there and his disciple, who he loved, standing nearby, he said to the woman, here is your son. And to the disciple, here is your mother. From that time on, the disciple took her into his home. You know, who he's referring to as his disciple he loved is John, who actually wrote this book. He was very humble by not mentioning his name in the passage. But what did we learn from this passage? We learned a lot. For one thing, it was a lot of Marys back then. We learned that. But we also learned the heart of Jesus and how at the foot of the cross, he was able to have compassion and take care of his family. Amen. You know, the biggest thing that we can learn today is that Jesus always is thinking about you. Yes. He is always thinking about your needs and how he can take care of you. Yes. You know, in this passage, we see, you know, Jesus looking at his mother. And let me give you some context here of what's going on. You know, prior to the cross, Jesus was already exhausted. You know, Jesus had went through 9 mock trials prior to this. 3 trials were just the Jewish trials. He also went through some Roman trials as well. And they were doing it illegally. They were doing it at night just to rush the process through, which that was illegal during that time, to have any kind of trial at night. But again, once he went through trial, he was taken away, tortured. He was beaten. He was actually beaten with the whip that had 9 cattails at the end. So that means that for every lash, he received 39 lashes. For every single lash times 9. So we're talking about 351 exposed wounds to his back. And then a crown was put on his head. You know, Jesus then had to endure the walk. He had to walk with his cross and carry his cross up a long, steep hill. And again, this is all before getting on the cross. Then we also look at the fact that when he gets up there, most of his disciples had deserted him. Again, only a few people was there, including his mom. And we see the heart of Jesus at this point, looking at his mom. My very first point is, if you don't do anything else, you must learn to take care of your own family. You know, for me, this is not a passage that, you know, when I'm looking at this scripture, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see it, and we gotta go a little deeper in the meaning of this message. You know, I think it's 3 levels of loving. We're going to talk about all 3 today. But I think the first level, Jesus said, hey, you know what? If you can't take care of your family, then again, you can't love others. If you think about the fact that the world, you know, people who, again, don't even acknowledge Jesus can take care of their family. And if you can't take care of your family, then again, how else can you love other people? That's right. You know, for me, we look at the passage, and we look and see what Jesus did here to his mom. The very first thing he did is he acknowledged her. He gave her his attention. Now you gotta understand, Jesus is in agony, he's in pain, and he was able to give her his attention. You know, that's something I struggle with so much. I know my wife can contest, she's like, oh man, preach, brother. You know, the thing about it is, I call myself a multitasker. I can multitask, I can give, and I can do all those other things too as well. So again, I come home and I talk to my wife, hey babe, how's your day? Text message, right? Hey babe, how's your day? Facebook, Candy Crush. I'm guilty. But again, we give so much attention to other things. One of the things that our families need the most is our attention. You know, one of the things that we can give money. We can always give that back. We can give a lot of things back, but one of the things that you can never be able to give back is your time. And that's why when you give your attention to somebody, it's so important. Because you're giving them a piece of yourself. You're giving them your time. You're giving them your heart. You know, brothers, I want to encourage you, when you get home, give your wife and your kids the attention they need. The attention that they desire. Again, if you want to see your marriage grow, if you want to see your kids do amazing, you will invest and give them the time they need. Amen? Amen. Also, one of the things that we see here is that he was able to connect with his mom from an emotional standpoint. Can you imagine what she is going through, seeing her son go through this on the cross? And he was able to say, Mom, you know what? I'm okay. I'm worried about you. He was able to connect with his mom from an emotional standpoint. You know, so often we take ourselves away emotionally. I'm a person, I want to just fix problems. I just want to say, hey, this is what you need to do this. And my wife is saying, just be quiet and listen. And listen, we need to be emotionally invested in our family. We need to be emotionally invested in our kids, we need to be invested emotionally. You know, but other things that I learned in this passage is because, again, you know what? When I look at this, it is so easy for me to be able to take care of my family. You know, I say, you know, I can repent. I can do better. But the Bible teaches us other things about our family. In Exodus 20:12, it says, honor your father and your mother, so that you may have a long life in the land of the Lord God has given you. You know, it just doesn't stop with your immediate family. You know, Christ is urging you, and the Bible is urging you to take care and honor your parents. You know, for me, I think about just the fact that, you know, my dad, he was a great disciple. He was with us for a long time. Again, I appreciate just what he instilled in me. He was a great man. And as he got older, he had some mental lapse. You know, and again, I felt like even before he passed away, I had already lost my dad. He wasn't the same person. He wasn't the man that I had grown to know. And that was very tough for me. It was tough because, again, really, I was mourning his death a couple of years even before he was gone. Because, again, he wasn't the same. But in this passage, what we see is that Jesus cares about our future. Okay? He cares about our future. And he looks at things from a practical standpoint. It's things that we can do from a practical standpoint. And that is always honoring our parents. You know, one of the things I regret is I felt like I emotionally disconnected from my dad during that time. I wasn't patient. Sometimes I wasn't kind. Sometimes I was like, I just told you that the other day. And again, but it shows Jesus' love for us because he is always patient. He is always kind. He is always giving us opportunity after opportunity. And again, we have to be the same way with our family. Another passage that, again, is interesting. Go ahead and turn to 1 Timothy chapter 5, 3-4. You know, in the Bible, it gives us clear instructions of how to take care of widows. Well, at this time, Jesus' mom was a widow. His mom had already, Joseph had already passed away years prior to the crucifixion. So again, history shows that she was a widow. And his heart was always on it. But again, it gives us instructions that we need to follow when it comes to taking care of our family. In 1 Timothy, it says in chapter 5, 3-4, it says, give proper recognition to those widows who are really in need. So what he's doing, what's going on is he's talking to the church. He's talking to us. And he's saying those widows in the church, take care of them. But then he also says this, he says, but if a widow has children or grandchildren, these should learn first of all how to put their religion into practice by caring for their own family and repaying their parents and grandparents, for this is pleasing to God. Amen. So what we see here is the fact that, hey, God says, hey, if you have kids, if you have grandkids, that's who should be taking care of the widows. That is who should be taking care of those who need help. Again, think about your parents. Again, it's going to be a situation one day where they can't take care of themselves. And what we learn from what Jesus did here is he took care of Mary when she couldn't take care of herself. He was thinking about her future. He was thinking about, again, hey, you can't take care of yourself. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make provisions to make sure that you're taken care of. You know, what provisions are we making for our parents? What provisions are we making for our family to make sure that, again, they're taken care of? Again, I know it's not something we talk about a lot. Again, I know it's something I don't think about a lot. But again, this says that this is pleasing to God. If you want to please God, you'll take care of your parents. You'll honor your parents if you want to please God. Also, in 1 Timothy, it brings it even more to pass. In 1 Timothy 5 and verse 8, it says, anyone who does not provide for their relatives, especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. You know, again, for me, this is so convicting. Because, again, I think about my immediate family, but it says if you don't provide for your relatives, those in your family, in your household, you are worse than an unbeliever. Because, again, God understands that, hey, if you can't take care of those around you, those who live in your household, how are you expected to take care of others? So, again, the expectation is that we take care of others. Amen? You know, I remember growing up, I had two sisters, and living in a household with two sisters, my mom used to always say, you know what, y'all can't play with each other, right? But you can play with everybody else out there in the world, right? You can play with everybody in the streets, but you can't play with one another. But again, that's the same way I think we do our families. We give more attention to those outside of our family than we do those inside of our family. And again, we don't worry or we don't concern ourselves with their salvation. And again, how often do you think about where your mother is going? How often do you think about where's my brother going? Where's my sister going? Do they know Jesus? How are you investing in your family? You know, so again, these are some critical things that we must have together before we go to the next level. Amen. And the next level we're going to talk about is his love. And Jesus' love is he loved his church. Most of all, he loved his church. In the scripture here, we see where in Galatians 6 through 9, we go to the next slide. We see that Jesus loved his church in Galatians 6 through 9 through 10. Amen. And one of the things I want to encourage you is that it says, do not grow weary in doing good. Come on. You know, a lot of times we can grow weary in doing what's right. We can become so jaded and so accustomed to the day-to-day that we take people for granted. We take our relationships within the church. If you skip down to verse 10, it also talks about the fact that especially the household of believers. It says that especially those who you call your brother and sisters in the church. Again, we cannot grow weary in taking care and meeting those needs. In Galatians 6, it says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. How else can you actually carry someone's burden but by being close to them? Yeah. You know, I can't carry your burdens as a fellow believer if I don't know them. Right. If I'm not around, if we're not close. You know, Jesus demands his church to be different than any other church. Now, there's a lot of churches out there, and I'll be honest with you, but God commands his church to be close. He says to carry one another's burdens. You know, recently, me and my wife, we had a bump. We had a bump in our relationship where we wasn't fighting, we wasn't arguing, we just did not feel close to one another. And, you know, God really blessed us with just a couple being able to come in and help us, you know, get the help that we needed. And I am just truly grateful for that. And they actually, it wasn't like something we set up. It wasn't like, hey, we said, hey, we need to go get help. You know, now we need to be doing that. Amen? But again, I think God, he looks out for our needs even when we don't. And he puts people in our lives and people in our places where we don't. So again, last weekend we had a couple that came in, Port and Patina, and they was at our house, and I think they just sensed something just didn't feel good. Again, we wasn't arguing, we wasn't having any arguments, but we just wasn't as close as we normally are. And they took their time. They took their precious time to make sure that we were okay. And they loved us through it, and we was able to work it out. And again, we're learning how to love one another. And, I'm just truly grateful. But the thing is, guys, we don't tap into that nearly as much. And then we also take it for granted. We take for granted the fact that we have brothers and sisters in the church that are willing to invest in us. That is a true blessing. That is a gift from God. We must make sure that we are grateful every single day, that we are praying for one another, and that we never get to a point where we just blend in. We never get to the point where we come in on Sundays ready for a show, ready to look at, hey, where's the new songs? We heard that song last week, right? That's not what church is. Again, God loves His church. His church was His body. He loved each one of us. Who are you giving to this morning? Amen. Who are you investing in every single day? Who are you praying for? Who are you helping? The Bible also talks about the fact that the older disciples need to mentor the younger disciples. And then it also says that we should treat the older disciples with honor. And if they have lost their way, that we do it in a way that is respectful. So I urge the church to make sure that we don't lose that heart. We don't lose the passion for what the body is. Again, this church is just a building. Again, we are the body, amen? And we're going to have a video for the last portion of this.
เพราะสิ่งที่เขาได้คือได้แค่ความรู้สึกได้เห็นความสุขได้เข้าใจได้ความรักได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิม ที่สุดไทยประกันชีวิตเชื่อในความดี
Amen. I don't know what he said then. But I think this is just a great display of just how to take care of others. A lot of times we think about what we're going to get back in return. We think about what we're going to get. But when we think about just Christ, and when we think about just Jesus on the cross, he was thinking about you. He was thinking about the fact that you will have the opportunity one day to be with him in heaven. Through the pain, through the agony, through all that he went through, he was thinking about you. In Philippians 2, 5 through 7, it says, your attitude should be the same that of Christ Jesus, who being the very nature of God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but made himself nothing to take on the very nature of a servant. When we think about just the fact that, he had an opportunity to get off that cross, but he did not get off that cross because he loved you. But one of the things I love about this passage is it says that your attitude, the way we view things, the way we see life, should be the same way that Christ sees it. We should have the same heart as Christ in every single action. And what was his actions? When he was on the cross, he said, hey, forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they do. Are you forgiving others? Do you have things that you need to forgive others in your families about? In the church? In your job? Are you holding on to things? Because it says, hey, we need to have the same attitude as Christ. Also, what did he say to the robber near him on the cross? He said, you know what? You will be with me in paradise. As he was dying, he was thinking about others' salvation. How often are you thinking about other people's salvation? Is that your heart? Do you have the attitude of Christ? For me, again, this is very challenging. And guess what? When I was studying this out, one of the things I realized is no way I can do any of these things on my own. No way. It's impossible. If you think that you're going to do this and to love this way on your own, you might as well forget about it. We need Christ in order to do this. We need God in order to grasp this. But one of the things I want to urge you guys on is the fact that we must learn to love like Christ did. It says that what is the biggest command? What is the greatest command? Is that you love me with everything that you have. And you love others the same way. Brothers and sisters, if we're going to be a church that is not idle, if we're going to be a church that is growing, if we're going to be a church that is putting power in other people's lives, then we must love. The Bible says that, hey, you will know my disciples by the way that they love one another. Again, I urge you to think practically, how can I do that? It's some things that we can do. This summer, we have a huge opportunity. The Nashville church is going to pay for interns to come to Birmingham to help. And I'm super excited about that. The only thing they need, though, is housing. How can we help with that? The Bible also says that anyone who takes care of my messenger will get the same reward of them. So again, when you take care of God's messenger, you will receive their same gift that they receive in heaven. Amen? That's a huge opportunity. But also, we have some needs here in church. I'm sure we have single women, and we have widows. We have women who need help. Practically, are you making lists and saying, hey, you know what? How can I meet their needs? How can I take care of them? How can I serve them? Every single day, we need to wake up and think about how we can serve others. Because again, that was the attitude of Christ. Again, church, I urge us to make it not just some words that we have learned today or looked at today, but again, we make this something that is in our lives every single day. Amen? And to God be the glory. At this time, we're going to pray. We're going to pray for communion. Sorry. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you